The universe wants more for you than you could ever want for yourself. So no matter what's happening, it's actually for your good. Even if in the moment it feels like it's so far from what you want or what you thought would happen or what you desired, the universe wants far more for you than you could ever want for yourself. Whatever's happening is actually happening, believe it or not, for your highest good. And something will come out of it and something will be better and you'll be shown a different way and an outcome that you never expected will occur.
If you're actively seeking ways to build your mental toughness, navigate life transitions with grace, or simply find inspiration to keep moving forward, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast. Welcome to the Art of Beautiful Thinking. My name is Yvette and I'm here with my co-host, Kat. We have a special guest with us today, Sandy Forster. And Sandy is from Wildly Wealthy. But what we're going to be speaking about today is resilience, and not just around the hustle of resilience, but also not that blind positivity, but as that inner recalibration that allows someone to really build something extraordinary from the very ordinary, even with painful beginnings. And hence why we've got Sandy here with us today. Now, a little bit about Sandy. Sandy is the money mindset mentor for women worldwide who are really ready to experience more abundance, prosperity, and money in their life. And I think we're all up for that, aren't we? Now, Sandy went from welfare to millionaire and was actually also featured in Oprah's Aussie Secret, and loves inspiring and empowering women to break through their blocks, really attract abundance and experience time and money freedom back into their lives, just to do things that make their hearts sing. And that is what attracted me to Sandy's coaching in the first place as well. Now, her award-winning international bestseller, How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast, has been translated in over 11 languages and was also banned to over 1.4 billion people because it was actually too empowering. Now, that says something. She is the founder of the Inspire Spirit Coaching Academy and has trained over 1,500 women to become internationally certified coaches, including myself. And she's also the host of the Wildly Wealthy Women podcast and has transformed hundreds of thousands of women's lives around the world. Now, Sandy lives on her tropical paradise in near the beach in sunny Australia. I believe it's in Queensland, and is visited by lots of wild kangaroos grazing on her acreage every afternoon. Now, that would be a beautiful sight to see. You can also connect with Sandy at wildlywealthy.com, and we will provide Sandy's link below. So let's kick it off. Sandy, most people know the headline welfare to millionaire, but we pretty much pressed a pause on that highlight reel. What was that specific season where you generally felt stuck or lost or ready to give up?
It wasn't just a season. I think it was a whole, like it was almost all my life. So yeah, it was really, oh my gosh. I guess for me, I met a boy in high school. We went out for 10 years. We got married, had kids. I had a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, and then we divorced. And suddenly the thing that I had been doing just to bring us a little side money to put in a swimming pool or landscape the garden or buy some furniture or go on a holiday, suddenly that money had to be my entire income. And, it's not like we did all those things in a year. It was we did something every
Yeah.
year. So suddenly that income was everything I had to live off. And I had a business that was a hobby. So I was designing and manufacturing swim and gym wear. And it was fun. I would buy Lycra, I would make bikinis, I would make board shorts, I would make, little swim shirts. And it would bring us a little bit of money. But this suddenly had to become my actual business. It had to become my income, the thing that kept me and my children afloat financially, because at the time I was receiving, I think it was about $105 a month, child support, which really wasn't
Right.
cutting it. So, so
Yeah.
here I am trying to make money in this business, and it was doing a little, like it was paying for petrol, it was paying for food, it was paying for electricity, but apart from that, it really wasn't paying a lot. And I found myself getting further and further in debt. And as I said, I ended up on welfare, $100,000 in debt, trying to build this business, not going anywhere. And I was just really stressed. Like I cannot even begin to tell you the
No.
amount of stress I was under. My stress was so high. And I think back then, like we're talking about 20 years ago, people didn't really talk about stress or mental health or anything as much.
Mm,
And so you really
so true.
carried the burden yourself. You just tried to kind of
Yeah,
just plow
suck it up.
through. And I think
Mm,
that's very much what I did. I plowed through. I kept the happy face, but I
mm,
plowed through. And,
oh,
getting that welfare from the government at the time, it was 15,000 Australian dollars a year to
my gosh.
survive.
Yeah,
So as you can imagine, I just kept getting further and further behind in debt, and
yeah,
it was just so bad. And I think the worst part of it was I was in survival mode all the time. So
mm,
I don't know if any other mothers have felt this, but I felt like I was yelling at my children all the time because I had
yeah.
no patience. I was so stressed. It was not a happy place to be. And every time, we did anything at the start, my kids were saying, "Oh, can I have an ice cream when we were out? Or can I have a bag of chips? Or, can I have this? Can I have that?" And it would always be no. And in the end, my kids
Oh,
never asked me for anything because they just knew I would always
oh,
say no,
oh
and that was
gosh,
just
that's
heartbreaking, and I think
heartbreaking for the mum.
I look
Yeah,
back now and I think, "Oh my gosh, my poor children," but on the flip side of that, they would go and stay at their dad's for the weekend, and he'd splash around money left, right, and center, so they kind of had both sides of the fence there. But yeah, it was a really, really, challenging time, really hard time, and I guess for me, because I have been able to completely transform that, been able to go from welfare to millionaire, that it's my absolute passion to share what I know with other women so that they don't have to experience that stress that I went through. I think that's my
yeah.
main aim.
Yeah, so
Mm.
it's like grabbing onto your coattails from your knowledge of what you gained through that period and being able to, I suppose, go through it a lot quicker than
Exactly,
what you
because I know
to
for
go
me,
through.
I did the same thing. I would listen it was before podcasts, I think. I don't know, I was very slow to catch on to podcasts. I think I only catched on in the last 3 years. But, but it was, before all the information that we have these days, but I read so many books, I listened to so many audio programs, I did whatever I could to really immerse myself in other people's knowledge. Because as you say,
Yeah,
you're right on their coattails, you don't have to go through all the ups and downs, the good and the bad, learn your own lessons, you can learn from other people, and that's very much what I did.
mm. Fantastic. Now, just to take you back there, Sandy, not that you really want to go back to that time, but just to take your mindset back there, what were some of those internal narratives that were going on in your mind during that? I know you were saying you were really, really stressed
Yeah.
and that was a hard thing to go with, but were you running through things like, I'm not capable, I'm not worthy,
Oh,
what was happening?
totally. So I kind of was of the mindset that everyone else on the planet had their money stuff sorted, and I was the only one that didn't. There was something wrong with me. There was something fundamentally flawed about me and money. It was like I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew that I was completely stuffed when it came to money because everyone else seemed to have it together. Having said that, now, gone from that place of welfare to millionaire and actually, having a bit of an insider look at what's going on in other people's lives, what's on the outside is not always happening like in their real life. They show you, particularly with social media, show you the highlight reel, but not what is actually happening. But at the time, as I said, I really felt like I was the only one that didn't have it together. I would go to seminars around wealth building, all the practical stuff, and I would my brain would be fried because I half
Mm,
of me didn't understand what they were talking about anyway, and then the other half was like, I'm never going to get this. Like everyone seems to be nodding along and taking notes, and I'm like, what?
yeah,
I just felt like I just didn't have the gene to be able to create abundance, create wealth in my life, and be able to get out of the mess I was in. So it was really disheartening, and I was really down on myself. And I think I very much had a very, very, very low self worth because I felt like I couldn't. Not only could I not make money, but I couldn't even be a good mum. So, like, what was the point? It
yeah.
was, yeah, it was not fun. Definitely not fun.
How did you shift that mindset then, Sandy? Because I mean, you're really at a low point in your life, and having that low tolerance and that you're already here, and then you've got kids, and then something just pushes you over the edge. I know that feeling myself. Um, how did you turn things around? What did you do to shift that mindset?
Well, I think I was so blessed to come across the law of attraction. Now, these days, many people understand the law of attraction. They understand mindset, they understand neuroscience. But back then, it was very, very new. And I came across a course that
Mm.
was based on the law of attraction and mindset. And it kind of blew my mind because it was like, okay, so I can focus on what I want, and that's gonna help to shift my life toward what I want rather than
Mm.
trying to do all the practical because my brain still to this day struggles with the practical. I've got ADHD, I've got other things going on in my brain, and it's it's a challenge. So, to me, the
Yep.
fact that I could get really clear on what I wanted, I could focus on it, that would then
Mm.
change not just my thoughts, but it would change my energy. So even if you don't believe in the law of attraction and believe in energy and believe in manifesting,
Yep.
just knowing that it changes your thoughts, which changes your decisions, which changes your actions, which changes your outcome. And that's what
Yep.
I fell in love with. And the fact that to me it was woo-woo and magical. It's like, oh my gosh, this is just the best thing. And after discovering the law of attraction, I became obsessed. Because think about it. I could every day focus on being $100,000 in debt and on welfare and really struggling. Or I could
Mm.
use the law of attraction and instead focus on being abundant and being wealthy, being a millionaire. That's what I really
Yeah.
focused on. And having a house that I lived in, that I owned, that
Yep.
I didn't have to pay rent on or wasn't allowed to put a picture up on the wall, having a car that would go every time and didn't leak so much that in the back seat a plant would start growing, which is what happened after it rained.
Yep.
Um, it's like being able to do all the things that I really wanted to do, buy fresh flowers, go to a gym class, go to a meditation class, like just
Yeah.
my
Mm.
heart just sang at the thought of being able to focus on all those things rather than my crappy
Mm.
life. So, as I said, I became obsessed and started doing so many different processes and exercises to keep me focused on what I wanted rather than the reality of my life.
And that takes a lot of focus actually to in order to do that. And I found the same thing when I actually came across personal growth work and then coming across metaphysical work. Similar sort of thing. It made my heart sing. I went, this is truth. I'm going to follow this path. This is amazing. But it took a little while for, I suppose, my old beliefs to go and be replaced with really good beliefs. It was a process, I suppose, that I had to
Exactly,
go through.
and it's a
And I was,
daily process, and this is what I think most
yeah,
people don't understand.
yeah,
It's like I was talking to my sister, so I've got a bit of trouble with my shoulder. My sister said, "Oh, I've got a torn I had a torn rotator cuff. The physio gave me these exercises. I did them every day for 6 months, and when I went back to the surgeon who was gonna do the operation, they said, 'Oh my gosh, you don't need the operation. Whatever you've
yeah,
done, it's worked.' And she said, 'Well, I did it every single day.' And that is the same with manifesting. People learn
yeah,
a process, learn an exercise, get a tool. They think they've got the answer. They'll do it for a couple
yeah,
of weeks, and when they don't get the results straight away, they think, 'Oh, it's not gonna work. This is all woo-woo,'
yeah.
or,
Mhm.
"It's gonna work for everyone else, but not me. There's something wrong with me." It's like you've gotta stick at it like your life depends on it because basically your life does. Like, you get to
Yep.
choose how your life is. You get to choose what you create in your life. And so if you give it that kind of focus and understand that it could be 6 months, it could be a year, but are you willing to do the work and keep your energy high and keep your focus on what you want for that long
Mm.
to create that life of your dreams? And if the answer is yes, then good on you. But if the answer is, I'm not really sure, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I also feel that you have to really believe in that vision that you have for yourself. And whenever those doubts come in or the fears come in, it's about navigating, utilizing that belief you have to navigate through the fear and the doubt and not allow the fear and the doubt to overtake your energy. Because as we know, what we speak into the void as such
Oh, yeah.
becomes a reality. And it doesn't matter whether you're thinking positive or negative, you're going to get a reflection back on what your thoughts and your
Mm,
emotions are putting out
exactly.
there.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important.
You're the master here.
And
Yeah.
what you're saying is so true. And I really feel that people need to understand that you are going to go through ups and downs. Life is not all up. Even when
Mm.
you discover the law of attraction, even when you master your mindset, it's never going to be
Yeah.
all up. Life is about ups and downs. But it's about when you're in the downs, what can you do to bring yourself up? And that's why I find that, for instance, in my programs, you're surrounded by like minded people. We've got private groups that you can get support in, that you can reconnect with. And I really encourage people, I do this in all my programs, I encourage people to share their wins, share their successes, share what's working for them, share the manifestation, share the coincidences that are just amazing. Because what happens is
Ah,
when you continually tap in to other people doing what it is that you want, getting a new car or manifesting the money for a house or getting that amazing job or starting a business that they love. When you tap into that consistently and you hear of other people's wins, it builds your belief. And building your belief is the thing that's going to allow what you're focusing on to happen. It's also going to allow you to continue to focus on it because when you surround yourself with, and I'm not saying, everyone's like this, but when you surround yourself, say, with friends or family that are continually trying to burst your bubble or bring you back to earth as it is, then
yeah.
you're never going to be able to create because every time
Mm,
you get like excited and think, oh, yes, I'm going to do this thing or I'm going to take this course or I'm going to go to this event or I'm going to start this new venture, they'll swoop in and tell you all the reasons why it won't work. And they're not doing it to bring you down. They're doing it to keep you safe. So they're kind of doing it from
yeah.
a place of love. They want to keep you safe, but they also want to keep you on the same level as them. Because if you
Mm,
break out of the box and you're doing really well, it just then highlights them
yes.
and their situation and
Yeah.
how they're not doing
Well,
anything to change things. So it's kind of, it gets a bit messy, it gets a bit challenging, but that's why if you can find a group of people outside who you normally spend time with, if they're not really successful people, then that's really going to help you. It's really going to help you on such a huge level.
absolutely. Being around
Yeah.
like-minded people, yeah, thoroughly. And I
Mm.
know, like a lot of the personal growth work that I've done over the years, and I've attended, similar to you, I went around the world attending different personal growth events, and it was for that reason, so I could be around like-minded individuals. And very similar to yourself, at first, I'd be getting a lot of information and getting bits of it, tiny little bits of it, and kind of going, okay, go away and implement that part that I actually got, because there's so much information that
There
you can get from
is,
these
oh
events.
my gosh, there is so much information. I agree. I agree. I always say to people, if you can get one little nugget out of a book, a podcast, an
Yep.
entire course, whatever it happens to be, you get one nugget, that one thing can completely transform your life. And that's why,
Yep.
when I started to make some money, I would hop on a plane. I would hop on a plane on a Friday morning. I would arrive in LA, so from Australia to LA, and because you gain a day, or no, yeah, you miss a day. One of those, I would arrive Friday morning. I would log in for or register for an event, and I would be at the event Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. I'd hop on a plane Sunday night and fly back home to Australia because I knew being
Wow.
surrounded by people who were focused on the same thing, who wanted success, who wanted to shortcut their success. That's what I love about mentors and events and books and everything like that because it shortcuts your success. And I just knew the difference it would make in my life and it absolutely did. And the things that I've done and things I've experienced since, those days of having no money and then having a bit and then investing in my education, in my future, it's just so well worth it.
Sandy, can you let us know what was a typical day for you back then when you were implementing the
Oh, when I was
works that you
implementing?
learned?
Okay. So, typical I thought you were gonna say typical day when I had no money and everything was shit.
Well, we do that as well.
I know. We all
So
know how that feels,
Yeah,
don't you,
we all know
Sophie?
how that feels. I don't think
so I guess for me and it's still very similar. So for me, I guess when I was at school, I was daydreaming all the time. Okay, so I was always
Mm,
thinking about things. That's what I still love to do, but now it's more intentional. So now I will get clear on what I want and I will visualize it. I will imagine that
yeah.
it's real. I'll step into that future version of myself. And sometimes I kind of feel like and my daughter has definitely said this is what I do. I do delusional manifesting. So I get into that place where I really feel it's real, and I'll
Love
tell
it.
her something, or she'll say, is this real, or is this just you're making it up?" So it's like it's really, getting there in my mind, seeing it, feeling it, imagining it's real. But when I was that place of being $100,000 in debt and on welfare, some of the things I love to do, and I still do, affirmations. So, for instance, when I was renting a place and it had this tiny pool in the backyard, and I would do laps in that pool, and I think I would do about half an hour of laps, just back and forth and back and forth. But every stroke I did, I said an affirmation. So I was just saying half
Yeah.
an hour of affirmations nonstop. I would visualize all the time. I would have things cut out, like print things out, like I am now a successful businesswoman. I'd print it out on colored paper and I'd stick it on my wardrobe wall. So every time I walked past, I would see it and I would say it. I found what I did and I still love to do is I love a smorgasbord. Don't tell me to do one process and do that for the next 6 months because my mind will be bored stupid and I will give up after a week. So I'm
Yep.
very much at the mindset that what do I feel like doing now? And one of the things I used to do, I had a little it's like a little, clear plastic folder with, plastic sheets, and you
Mm.
could stick paper in the plastic sheets from the Officeworks store. And I
Yep.
would have on one page, I'd have affirmations, another page, I'd have a picture of me surrounded by money, another page, I'd have some sort of prosperity declaration, another page. So I had it filled with all these different things, and I would put it on my kitchen table. So, and then at the time, I worked from my dining room table. So I would get up from the dining room. This is when you had, dial-up computer. All those noises. So, get up from my computer, go to get a glass of water. I would open my book, whatever was on that page, I would do. So if it's affirmations, I just do them, and they'd be like, a minute or 2. Go and get my glass of water,
Yep.
drink my water, go back to my computer, but, going back to my computer, I was going past my little book. So I'd flick to the next page, and it'd be a picture of me surrounded by money or my kids surrounded by money or a picture of a house that I wanted, just something. And I would sit there and I'd
That's
look at it and
awesome.
I'd feel it was real and go and do my work. And then, I've got to hang the washing out. So back past the table, do the next thing. So I was constantly doing little things. So I wasn't getting up in the morning and going, I'm going to meditate for 2 hours and, have the prosperity come to me. I was just
Yeah.
constantly putting my energy in that place where it was focused on what I wanted, when I was getting excited about how my life could
All
be.
everything.
And yeah,
Everything's going in that direction. Can I just say, Sandy, you're the Bruce Lee of manifestation. You reminded me of Bruce Lee because he used to do a similar thing with his
yeah.
training. He would stop at the traffic lights. He'd have a board in his steering wheel and he'd just sit there punching and hardening his
Oh,
hands while he was
wow.
waiting for the lights to turn. So
I
a very
love
similar
that.
thing, training your mind, training your body, training your spirit, everything like and sending that message out going, this is what I want. So there's absolutely no ambiguity.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
I love that
And,
approach.
the
Yeah.
cool thing is when it comes to your thoughts, like you have people think, "Well, I've been thinking about having success and being abundant, but it's not showing up." So you've gotta think of it as this tiny, um really thin sheet of, say, silk. Think of silk, how soft and light and sheer it is. So that first thought is that one layer of silk. And then when you focus on that thing again, it becomes another layer. And then you focus on it again. And over time, those really thin, almost imperceptible sheets of silk that you can see right through suddenly become thicker and thicker and thicker, and it gets a body, it gets a physical life. Well, that's the
Yeah.
same with your thoughts. When you have that first thought, it's like this sheer nothing, and then you think about it again, and then you continue to think about it without going, oh, I can't see this thing happening, what's going on, the universe hates me.
Yeah.
It's like when you continue to focus on what you want, it gets more and more physical until it actually can appear in your world.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. And it's interesting when you were talking about like creating that dream book as such and dream boards and things like that. Because it sounds like what was happening to you is you were, as you said, you were putting yourself in that state. And by being in that state, it means your frequency, your vibration is constantly believing in what you're manifesting because you're
Yeah.
constantly expecting it to happen. And
Just
I
Exactly.
think
reinforcing.
that's huge thing.
A
Yeah.
and it's not just energetically. So when you continue
Mm,
to focus on something, when you're constantly thinking about something, talking about something, looking at something, what you're doing in that moment is you're telling your subconscious mind, "This is really important to me."
mm,
And we
Yeah.
have something called the reticular activating system that kind of
yeah.
because, like,
Arouse.
think about it. We have got so much coming into our life every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week, month, year, and on, like so much that our brain, if it had to process it all at a conscious level, would just explode. So the reticular activating system, the RAS, filters in what is important and filters out what's not. So it's like, okay, if I'm constantly when I was constantly thinking about how I had bills, how I couldn't pay those bills, how I was getting red letters, how I was getting the
Yeah.
phone calls, how I was so stressed out about money. Where's it coming from? What's going to happen? Oh my gosh, I'm always broke. I was telling my subconscious mind in those moments, this is what's really important. So when Sandy goes out
Mm,
into the world, make sure that those things become very evident to her. Make sure
yeah.
she sees
Yeah.
more debt. Make sure she has more of those phone calls. Make sure she gets those letters. Make sure she doesn't have the money to pay the bills. And
Yeah.
when you instead focus on what you want all the time, as much as you possibly can, I'm not saying 100% of the time because that's not life, but think about it as a scale, 50%. Yes, you're focusing on what you want, 50% you're focusing on what you don't want. Let's just tip the scale even just a little bit. So there's more focusing on what you want. When you do that, it's not only a metaphysical thing and telling the universe what you want, but you're actually rewiring your mind so that your subconscious
Mm,
is getting those messages. Oh, Sandy wants a beautiful house. Sandy wants freedom to travel. Sandy wants the money to do the things that make her heart sing. Okay, when she goes out into the world, let's make available to her all those opportunities and circumstances and situations that allow that to happen because that's what's important. And I think that's what people miss. It's not just woo
yeah.
woo, it is
Mm.
neuroscience and you
It's
really
Yeah.
can
fine.
It
create
is.
it
It is
yourself.
neuroscience.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's interesting because when you talk about the RAS like that, it's so true because what'll end up happening is you'll start to see those other opportunities because the RAS is working for
Yep.
you in that
Yeah. I
space.
mean, those opportunities were there all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
not like all of a sudden magically the opportunities come. They were there all the time, but you missed the email. Uh, you know, you didn't get the phone call. You didn't see the
Yeah.
ad for this course that was going to transform your life. You just basically filtered it all out because your
Yeah,
brain
Yeah.
wasn't aware that it was important to you.
correct.
So
Exactly.
just change your thinking, and honestly, everything can change.
It does, and it's
Yeah.
and I think that just goes to show the power of when you're able to align both the heart and the mind together,
Yeah.
and get them working coherently. That's where what we refer to as magic happening,
Yeah.
and that sounds like what was happening to you. Would that be
Yes,
right?
however, there's a missing piece. So this
Oh,
is the
Oh.
okay.
piece that most people tend to miss. This is the piece that most people they think they can sit around and meditate and the millions of dollars is going to drop into their lap because they're feeling abundant, they're seeing the abundance, they're connecting with the abundance. What they're missing is, and this is what I love teaching people, it's all about body, mind, and spirit. Body,
Yes,
mind, and
yes,
spirit. So it's your thoughts, it's your feelings, and it's your actions. So without
yes.
the action piece, it's not going to happen. So I think it was Wallace Wattles who wrote, I think it was in 1920 in the book The Science of Getting Rich. He said, by
Yep.
thought, the thing you desire is brought to you, but by action, you receive it. Meaning your
Yeah.
thoughts and your feelings bring it to you, but it's still in the metaphysical. It still hasn't appeared
Yeah.
in your world. But by action, you receive it. So by action, it turns from being in the metaphysical to actually being in your reality. So you've got to take action. And I think a lot of people, particularly after think that they watched or read the book or the movie The Secret, they learned about this thing called the
Oh,
law of attraction. And oh, I'm just going to sit around and meditate and it's all going to work out. But no, there is more to it. So it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And when they are all aligned, The beauty is that of it is when you think about what you want and you're really clear, and then you feel as if it's real and you see it in your mind's eye, that's when ideas will come to you to take those
Mm,
actions. So it's not like you've got to go, okay, I'll think about it, I'll feel it's real, I'll see it's real, but what do I do? If you are thinking and feeling, ideas will come, and the idea is not to just go, oh, that's a good idea. The idea is to take action on the idea,
mm.
because that is where the magic
Yeah.
happens.
So it's intentional actions, really?
Yeah, inspired actions, I call them. So
Opportunity always presents itself in overalls. You've got to put those overalls on and still do the work.
you got to
True.
do the work.
I was reading somewhere the other day that I think it was a I can't remember. It's never say his surname. He was the Persian poet
Oh, yes,
from a
Khalil
very long time ago.
Ibrahim or
Yeah,
something? Yeah, I know the one.
Abraham, something like that. And he says in there that work is love in action.
That's what it is. And the and it how great is it to find work that you absolutely love and adore? And I think for me, that was one of the things that really supported me to go from welfare to millionaire. So when I was $100,000 in debt and on welfare, I discovered a thing called life coaching. And it was like, oh my gosh, this thing allows you to work from home and make as much money as you want. And you're working in the personal
Yeah.
development field and you're helping people and you're becoming the best version of yourself. Oh, sign me up. So I borrowed the money to do my life coach training. And this was back in, I think, the year 2000. That was a long time ago. And I fell in love, and to be honest, totally transparent, I didn't fall in love with coaching because I wanted to help people. That wasn't actually my number one focus back then. It was, "Help
Hmm.
me. I am drowning. I need help. I need to transform my life. I need to do
Yeah,
something different." But through coaching and coaching others and, that's when my mindset really shifted because suddenly it became my work, my business. It wasn't something I
yeah,
read a book on the side or,
Yeah.
listened to an audio. It was what I was doing every single day. And it just really shifted everything. And yeah, I was able to really create so much more success. And I think for a lot of people, they think, oh, well, I can't be a coach because my life's not perfect. It's like, excuse me, my life was anything but perfect. So
yeah.
being a coach isn't about having a perfect life, it's having these specific processes and exercises to take people through, to keep them accountable, to
Yeah.
keep them taking action on what it is that they want. It's not that you have to have achieved what they want or you have to be an expert in what
Mm,
they want. You just need to be someone who holds people accountable, supports them, is there for them every week. That's pretty much what it is.
yeah. Guide them through their process and
Yeah,
hear them out.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Empower
did you
them.
find at
Yep.
all during that time, Sandy, when you did go into coaching and started developing that business, did you ever have a point through there where doubts were creeping in and you felt that you had to go back to a job, for instance, or work for somebody else?
A good
Yeah,
question. That's a very good question.
absolutely.
Thank you, Besh.
So, yeah, at one point, I don't know what happened. I just had I'd gone through my coach training. I was all fired up. I started coaching people, and then something happened in my little brain. It was like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" And I just felt like I just shouldn't be doing this. And actually stopped coaching
Oh,
and I started
Wow.
only offering, free, they weren't even webinars at the time. It wasn't because it wasn't through the internet. It was free, teleseminars over the phone. And what I did at that time was I interviewed other millionaires. So I interviewed millionaires
Uh-huh.
because I was thinking, well, who am I? Like at the time, I hadn't made, barely any money. So it was like, who am I to be coaching anyone on anything? I'm going to interview these people. So I stopped coaching,
ugh,
but then something shifted after I was interviewing these different millionaires and offering them for free to people. I suddenly, I guess I was then inspired. I was doing what I love to do. I was, people were doing for me what I love to do for people now, which is inspire them and motivate them and get them excited about the possibilities. And so suddenly I was like,
yep.
oh my gosh. And I swung back round and started coaching, and everything just took off and everything just really
Oh,
started to fall into place. And suddenly I felt like I don't have to have this figured out overnight. I can just, take if I continue to take steps toward what I want, anything is better than, being on welfare. So it's like, this is doing well, and yeah, things just really shifted, then I came up, and then my accountant contacted me and said, "I've got this business opportunity. Would you be interested?" I said, "No, no, no. My logical mind is not having a bar of that. It's a direct sales business. Didn't want it." She said, "Just come along and listen." Anyway, I went along and listened, and she said, "Look, I'll pay for the course. I don't want to talk to people about it because I'm an accountant and I'm, talking about other things, but I have clients that this would be really good for." It was a what was it? It was a real estate investing course
Okay.
and
Yep.
seminars. And I said, "Okay, I'll tell them about it." And that business just took off, and we did that for a few months, probably about a year, and I was making more in 1 month than I was my entire 3 years previously. So I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, this is good." And then something happened with that business, not our side of it, but them and their courses and whatever, and it all kind of started to fall apart. And then I woke up one morning with the idea for Wildly Wealthy Women in my head. And I went online and I registered the domain name. And it wasn't for probably a few months that my accountant and myself were at a seminar for that other business. And I said to her, "I've got this idea." And she said, "Oh, what is it?" Because I'm always coming up with ideas. And I said,
Another one.
I think that you could teach the practical side, because not only was she a real estate investor, she was also an accountant, an asset protection person, a financial advisor. Like, she's the whole package. The
Wow.
things that my brain
Yeah.
just that still doesn't compute. And
Yep.
and she said, and I said, and I can teach the mindset. I'll just teach about law of attraction and manifesting and neuroscience. Anyway, she said, "Oh, yeah, okay." And then she ended up going overseas for about 2 months, and so I just got the ball rolling, and within a couple of months, um, we'd made close to $2 million from
Wow.
women joining the
Wow.
Yeah.
program because they really wanted that combination. They wanted that, and I don't know, I can't say for sure, but I think back then, this was back in 2000, I think 2002 I came up with the idea. We launched in 2003. I think we're pretty much the first women's only mentoring program in the world. I could be wrong,
Right.
but now every man his dog does women's mentoring programs. But
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
then it was
Yeah.
new, it was different, and we were able to connect people all around Australia, because at that time it was only Australian. And it was so interesting because we had Wildly Wealthy Women's Wicked Weekends a few times a year, where all the women would get together and they'd do the
Oh,
practical stuff with Dipner and the mindset stuff with me. And they were able to then, the weeks between, they were on the phone and listening and learning. And it was amazing to see the difference that bringing the mindset into the practical really made for
yeah.
women. It was just amazing to see people that had been on welfare all their life suddenly buying a house, people that had husbands that had chronic gambling problems, even though that men weren't part of the program. They'd listen on the other phone and
Yep.
stop gambling and suddenly realize that money could be filtered towards something that could bring them wealth. And it was just really fulfilling and
Wow.
amazing
That's
and
huge.
mind-blowing that it all happened. Yeah, it was really cool. So, yeah, that's a program I'm really proud of.
What would you say to someone who was, say, thinking about starting their own business, like, becoming an entrepreneur and getting, whether it was getting into coaching or any of the personal growth work, anything really, I suppose, but are having doubts and those moments of not necessarily regret, but self worth issues? What would you recommend to them to
Before
do?
they've started or after? Or both?
Either.
Um,
Let's go both.
okay, so before, like, when they're looking at doing something, I mean, I've been there, done that. I understand that there's part of you that thinks, "Oh, okay, I've seen this working for other people, but I don't know how it's gonna work for me." I've tried this, that, and the
Yeah.
other before, and I've given up, or it hasn't worked, or it's been harder than I thought, but I really feel that when you're drawn to something, when your heart sings, when you kinda get a little bit of butterflies when you think about a specific thing, you're meant to do it. Because I know for a
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
I remember before I even discovered, before I launched Wildly Wealthy Women, before we did all of that, before even I'd started coaching, I remember hearing about a course that was all about mindset. And that's where I actually discovered law of attraction. But this course, I really wanted to dive in, and I knew there was a business attached to it. You could market the courses and everything. And I really wanted to get it. And I remember bringing someone along to a seminar to find out about it. And he was very successful. And I said, I just want you to come along and I want you to, tell me what you think. So he came along and he heard I guess you'd call it a sales pitch to get people involved in the products and the programs and then marketing them. And he turned to me and said, no, you'll never make this. You're hopeless at sales and you'll never be able to do it.
Wow.
And we left there, and my logical head was saying, I should listen to him, but my heart was saying, I just feel this is something I should do. This is something I should look
Yeah.
into. And I did it. And that's what first got me out of being on welfare. It was amazing. It just, obviously it
Yes.
changed my mindset. I
Mm.
made so much money from that. Unfortunately, the company ended up self imploding. There was a whole
Oh,
management thing happening and yeah, things fell apart. But that made me realize that don't listen to other people. Even people who are
mm,
more successful than you can sometimes tell you what is right or wrong for you. And you're the
yeah.
only one that really
Yeah.
knows that. So for me, that feeling in my gut that, this is something I've got to do. This is something I've got to look into. And I ended up being one of the top salespeople in the world for that particular
Oh,
course because I loved the
amazing.
course so much. I fell in love with the law
Mm.
of attraction. I fell in love with it all. So, and that same thing happened with coaching. Like when I discovered coaching, I was in debt and I didn't think that, I should do it. I didn't think I'd be any good at doing it. I thought, who am I to coach? I'm like, my life is a freaking mess. Like, I was like, what is the point? But I just felt like it was something that I should look into further. And I'm so glad I did because, that was the
Yeah.
stepping stone that really took me from where I was to where I am.
That's amazing. I just love that
Amazing.
because we say a lot. Kat and I have a message to people quite a lot, which is about going internal to get your own answers because you are the only one that does really know what is right for you and what direction you need to go in and things like that in life. And it's really about trusting yourself
It
and that
is.
that again is part of that journey of the importance of
Mm.
personal growth, the importance of getting coaching done and things like that because it helps you build that trust
It
in yourself. It
does.
helps you
It does.
so
Yeah.
Mm.
That
yeah.
trust in yourself is so eroded by school, parents, society,
Mm,
friends, the media, you name it. And I always say to people, one, because people say, well, I don't know, like that feeling I get inside, I don't know if that's a butterflies, funny feeling in my stomach, meaning I should do it, or is that a feeling that I shouldn't do it? It's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I always say to people, okay, one of the easiest ways is meditate regularly, even if it's only 10 minutes a day. But meditation, I always say to people, it's like the defrag for your brain. It's
yeah.
like it's like we're here, the universe, and this is just like to give you a visual. We're here, the universe is there. There's a pipe between the two of us. And when you build your intuition, that pipe, that messages that you get from the universe is something is right or wrong, or take this step or take advantage of that opportunity. When that pipe is clear, you get those messages. It's not like someone booms down and says, yes, Sandy, take that course. It's more like you just get that feeling, yeah, this is right for me. And what happens is through life, through everything, that pipe gets kinks and it gets a bit of gunk in it and the messages don't really come down that clear and you're unsure. Meditation is the pipe cleaner of that pipe.
Yeah.
Meditation will clean out that pipe that allow you to get clear. And when I say intuition, it's like, oh, you've zoned into the next world. And
Yeah.
it's just simply you get that knowing if something is right or wrong for you. And so meditation is the thing that cleans that pipe out between you and the universe's messages and allows you to take the actions and take advantage of the opportunities that come when they come because you just
Mm.
kind of get a knowing of what's right for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really good when you do that. I think, and then when you mentioned about daydreaming earlier, I'll light a candle. I'm not a meditator per se, but I'll light a candle and I'll sit in my space and daydream and let my mind sort of drift. I guess that's meditation, but
Yeah. Mm.
and exactly what you're saying. And then the coincidences start occurring in your life, and the little signs start dropping, and you're like, oh, okay, yep,
Exactly.
I see that,
Exactly.
and your mind's open to it, isn't it? And when your mind
Yeah.
is constantly, like you're saying, absorbing
Bombarded.
all the stresses of the day,
Yeah.
and too much dealing with everything with your nose really close. If you can take that step back, you get that macro view, and then you can start realizing, oh, I am getting some guidance. Okay, yep, I should go in that right direction, but it does take that quietening of the mind to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, it
Mm.
can be sitting there and just, lighting a candle. It can be walking along the beach in the
Yeah,
morning or, at
go to the
sunset. It
gym.
can be walking in a forest. Going, yeah, so many ways. Like meditation doesn't necessarily have to be eyes closed,
Yeah,
sitting in the lotus position, balancing on your head, going om. It's like,
no,
it
no.
really is about just,
That's panic attack time to
defragging your
me.
brain.
I'm just not doing it. Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
absolutely.
And I mean, there's so, as you said, there's so many different forms of meditation, active and inactive meditation. And it's
Yeah.
really about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've been an avid meditator and I've done both, and I've been meditating since I've been about 16 or 15. Can't remember now. I did a short course at school. When they have
Oh,
those little
wow.
additional courses, the
That's
extracurriculum one.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
there was only me and one other person that decided to do meditation.
Oh,
And it was an eye opener for me. It was amazing. And I remember in the class, nearly every single time when I went, I'd fall asleep because that was the only way my mind would go, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to fall asleep. And I'd wake
oh,
up, go, did I snore? Did I snore? But the
Wow.
premise of it and what she taught was something that I kept with me. And initially, I would go to it as a mechanism to help with stress and to just quieten the mind when it came to school things and stuff like that. And then over time, it became the tool that I went to all the time
Mhm.
for just
mm,
getting answers within myself and rebuilding that relationship with self. So for me, meditation is a powerful tool, but it's not unlike for Kat. Kat is a daydreamer. She needs to do the
daydreamer.
daydreaming
Yep.
and do that active meditation. So it's a very
Yeah.
it depends on the individual. And so I always say to people, find what works for you, find
Yeah.
what style works for you,
Mm,
because we're all different. We've all got that slightly different thing of what works for us and what doesn't.
yes.
So yeah,
Exactly, and that's the same when
I
it
think
comes
that's
to manifesting and tools for manifesting. That's
mm,
why I guess I wrote my book, How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast, because I would get bored with doing one thing or two things. It's like I needed lots of
Oh,
different things,
yeah.
so I came up with
Yep.
dozens and dozens, and so it's like a smorgasbord. You choose the things, try everything, but then choose the things that really
Mm,
light you up in that moment. And just because it lights you up
yeah,
for this next, week or two or month doesn't mean it's gonna continue to light you up. So you need to have kind of an arsenal of lots of different processes and exercises you can use, and you just use the ones that really make your heart sing, because when it comes to manifesting, it's about energy. And if you're focusing on what you want and you're thinking about it, but you're not getting that energy, that excitement, that sense of anticipation, the energy is what attracts what you want back to you, because your thoughts send the order out into the quantum field, but it's your
yeah,
energy that draws it back to you. So you can think about being wealthy and rich and abundant and having the dream home all you want, but unless you're actually really feeling it and feeling
mm,
excited about it and anticipating it coming and believing that it will happen, then you don't have the energy to actually attract the opportunities and situations. It's not like the house is suddenly going to appear in your life. It's the opportunities and circumstances and situations and connections and
yeah.
things happen that allow you to then create the money to have that house. So unless you've got that energy there, as you say, it's not going to happen. So yeah, you're really
I I have a bit of a question for you, Sandy. Did you ever get to a stage, because I'll be honest, this is kind of the stage I'm at a little bit, where you've got quite a lot of good things going on in your life. Things are going really well. I tend to find I manifest, and people around me that are in my life get all the things that I need, which is weird. And then I think of my poor old husband. So, and did you ever get to a level of comfort where you were like, life is good. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm also a little bit bored and I'm not sure which direction to push in. Did you ever get to that point?
yeah, totally. And I think everyone gets to that point at some stage. And it's really just about reevaluating what you want and finding something that excites
Yeah.
you. You know,
Mm,
it's just taking it to the next level, because and I mean, I hear this all the time. I hear interviews with people that have got multi millions, so that like billionaires, and they get to that point, and they get to the point where it's like, well, I've got everything. What do I want? But there's always something more. Like And I get people that say, "Well, I've got everything I want. What's the point of wanting more?" And it's like, well, you might have everything you want, but imagine all the people that you can help if you were then to help with this cause or that, it doesn't have to be all about you, because some people have a bit of a block about, oh, well, isn't manifesting more abundance or more money, isn't that selfish? Isn't that greedy? And it's like, well, okay, start
Mm,
manifesting, but manifest more so that you can make a difference. And sometimes it's just a shift in mindset. It's just about getting clear on, well, what is the next level for me? And if it's not for me specifically, where do I want to make a difference? Because all it is your energy, and really it is just getting your energy aligned with something that excites you, that brings you that sense of anticipation, because that sense of anticipation is the thing that really generates the energy to allow you to attract more into your life. But I get what you're saying about seeing other people around you manifesting things. When I first was learning about the law of attraction, I would see other people manifesting the very things that I want. And at that time, it was like, oh, why not me? How come they're all getting it and I'm not? And what I found and what I now teach is when you see someone else manifesting something that you want or creating something you want or having a success that you want, instead of, "Oh, why not me?" And, "That's not fair," which is an energy that is basically saying to the universe, "I don't have this," which then you're
Mm,
then creating more of because that's what you're focusing on, not having it.
mm,
Instead, look at them creating it and going, "Oh my gosh, imagine," not just saying imagine how excited they are, but imagine yourself how excited they would be getting
yeah.
that thing that they really want. And imagine, how grateful they are. And then be grateful yourself that you've been able to witness them actually manifesting or achieving or getting that thing, because it's like, well, that's the universe saying that you're aligning, you're getting close, it's happening. So when you can
yeah,
kind of bring those things into someone else's success, someone else's, manifestation, someone else achieving something that you want, it just helps you then attract that thing faster into your life.
Mm.
yeah,
Well, it's kind of
yeah.
proof in the pudding that
Yep,
it happened for them, it can happen for you.
exactly.
I also like to use the analogy that you're on a sailboat, for instance, and the closer you get to shore, you get debris coming past you. Whether it's branches or leaves or birds, swimming past you, whatever, you get this debris, and all that debris is just signs to show that you're getting closer to shore. And so I like to look at when other people are receiving around me that's what it is. It's just a sign to show me that I'm on the right path and it's
Yep,
coming.
yeah.
It's my
It's on
turn
its
coming very,
way.
very soon.
Yeah,
Be excited for everybody else around
yeah. And having said that, just one thing, I remember I had one, how I said, oh, you think about the house, it's not going to suddenly appear in your life.
you.
I actually had one person who came to one of my events, and in my events, I, sometimes say, well, anyone got any questions? And this one woman stood up and said, I just want to say that I was driving down the road one day and I was thinking about how I wanted more money, and I was listening to your affirmations and thinking about how I wanted more. And all of a sudden, all this money just flop gone onto my windscreen. Somewhere along the line, someone must have, I don't know, maybe someone was a bank robber and they were throwing the money out the window so they wouldn't get caught. Who knows? But she said she stopped the car, put all this money off her windscreen, all the money off the footpath. So
Oh,
it
God,
can happen very
that's
quickly.
amazing.
It can happen. Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
brilliant.
not sure if you've heard of Paramahansa Yogananda at all,
Uh,
the book of
maybe.
autobiography of a yogi.
Yes, yes.
Yep. So in his book, he talks about these different yogis who are actually able to manifest things just almost
I
instantaneously because
know.
they've been doing this all of their life and they've got just this
Wow.
utter belief in what they're doing. So you can, but I think a lot of us aren't at that level,
No,
and
that's just it.
it's about
We're not.
getting
It
that.
can happen, just like people can levitate.
Yeah,
We can't levitate.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I can't.
I can't, but people can, and people can bend spoons, and people can do all sorts of things with their
Exactly.
mind. And it's just, do you have the focus? So it's the same with manifesting. Do
Yeah,
you have the focus? Do you have that clarity about what you want? Do you have the intention that you absolutely will do whatever it takes to make it happen? And when you've got that intense focus and that intense clarity and that intense commitment, then I always say, as you move toward what you want, the universe starts moving what you want toward you. And the more steps you take, the more steps the universe takes until you meet in the middle and what you want appears. So You've got to take that action. You've got to be really clear. You've got to be committed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what does resilience mean to you now then, after all of these years?
I think after all these years, resilience to me is really just being persistent and committed and just keeping
Mm,
going. Like, I have had all sorts of things happen to me before I became a millionaire. All sorts of things happened to me after I became a millionaire. And I really learned to just, I feel like I'm at that point where I really am, even the absolute crappiest things, I'm just learning to go with the flow. Like the
yeah,
universe, I always tell other people, the universe wants more for you than you could ever want for yourself. So no matter what's happening, it's actually for your good. Even if in the moment it does not feel like it, even if in the moment it feels like it's so far from what you want or what you thought would happen or what you desired, the universe wants far more for you than you could ever want for yourself. So whatever's happening is actually happening, believe it or not, for your highest good, and something will come
mm,
out of it and something will be better and you'll be shown a different way and an outcome that you never expected will occur. But you've got to believe that and you've got to focus on that, because what happens is when things go belly up, most people then spend the next few days, weeks, months, sometimes years, going on about how crappy that was and how unfair that was. And they did this to me and they did that to me and this is what happened and blah, blah, blah. And then they just continue to live this life that they didn't really want. Whereas for me, when things that are bad happen, instead of focusing on it, yeah, I sometimes have a crying fest and ring someone close and have a chat and unload, but then it's like I do a happy dance and I know that something bigger and better is on its way. So it's just the universe making way. So just, be happy. It's not about being
that's
happy
so
when something bad happens. It it's just about refocusing and trying to see the good in it, because you never know what the universe has in store.
so true, so true. I like that. It's a good message.
Mm,
So, what for listeners, for our listeners and our audience that are here today, who are doubting themselves slightly or quietly as such, what
mm,
would you say to them right now?
I think the absolute best thing you can do is, first of all, get clear on what you want. So
Mm,
let's say you want more money. Well, that's very nice, but you can walk along the street and pick up 10 cents and that's more money than you had before, but it's probably not really what you want. So get really clear. Is there amount? Do you want a house? Where do you want the house? What will the house look like? What will be in that house? Like, what's the view from the house? Like, get really clear on whatever it is you want. And then find yourself a mentor. And I don't necessarily mean a mentor that you have to sit down and have a chat with. I mean someone who has achieved what it is that you want and you can follow in their steps. That may just be listening to their free podcast. It may just be buying their $15 book. It may be, it may be a step up, joining a program they have, but whatever it is, find the person that's already created the success that you want in the area that you want to manifest or attract or have a goal in, and then follow their lead, and then be persistent. Don't give up. Be committed. Do whatever it is that you need to do and tap into a like minded group. That's why masterminds or courses are often quite good, because there is a like minded group that can keep you focused, keep you, you know, in that place where your energy stays high. You believe that it's possible because you see other people achieving it. But get really clear, find yourself a mentor, do whatever it takes, and just, if you're not already, work on your mindset, because your mindset is going to bring you more success than the practical actions ever will. Obviously, the two together are going to create the magic, but it doesn't matter how many practical actions you take. If your mindset isn't in the right place, at some point they're going to self implode, they're going to go belly up, you're going to like make
yeah,
huge mistakes. It's going to be a mess. Whereas if you really focus on changing your mindset around abundance, around money, around what it is that you desire, then you'll find, as I did, that even if you are hopeless with the practical, ideas will come and you'll just kind of give it a go and bingo, it works. Like you get this huge success out of it. So it really is working on that mindset. That's the hugest part of creating a success, and not just in say a business, but in your life and just generally. It's about when you change the way you think, your entire world will change. But it all starts with how you
Yep.
think, because the metaphysical side will start to work, the universe will start to support you, but then the neuroscience will start to work, and your reticular activating system will start to feed to your subconscious what's important. You'll start to see more of it. You'll be able to take action on it, and everything will start to change.
Yeah.
Love
Awesome.
it. That's
Mm.
fantastic. Now, where can people buy your book from, Sandy?
Actually, Amazon. So Amazon, and I don't know, I think all over the place, but Amazon's the easiest place because I definitely know it's there in every country. So yeah, Amazon.
Great. All right. So I'll put a link for Amazon down below, as well
Yeah,
as the Wildly Wealthy site.
yeah,
There people can come to you for your courses, etc. So which would be really great.
beautiful.
And I'd just like to say thank you. It's been an honour.
Yeah.
Thank you
Been
with us
awesome.
here today. We
Mm.
really appreciate it.
Thank you for
And we would
having
love to hear
me.
from our audience as well on what they thought of our interview with Sandy today. That'd be
Yeah.
great on resilience.
And I just want to finish with one thing. I just want to say that whoever's listening to this, understand that I am nothing special. Like, we're all special, I get that, but I am nothing special. I'm the same as everyone else, and I just made that decision that I was sick of my life the way it was, and I was going to do whatever it took to change it. And I believe that if I, who didn't even finish high school, didn't have any connections, didn't have any money behind me, didn't know anyone with any money that could lend it to me. Like, if I could completely transform my life, and I didn't have any skills, like I was just everyday person that was probably a bit worse than most people. And if I've been able to change my life, I believe anyone can. It just takes that commitment. It just takes believing in yourself, and it just takes finding someone to listen to inspire you and empower you and continually get you in that place where you believe anything is possible, because anything is possible.
It
Yeah,
certainly is.
Brilliant.
And I,
Yeah.
I would just like to say thank you to you, Sandy, because I know when I started your coaching program and completed that and got my certification, etc., it was through that that got me excited about setting up my own program and doing this podcast and things like
Yeah.
that. So I just like to say thank you for the role that you played in my life
oh, thank
with sharing
you.
your knowledge and your wisdom,
Thank
because
you.
I know that I would not be where I am today without you. So
Oh,
thank you
Yeah.
so
beautiful. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. That's
And I wouldn't
beautiful.
have been invited to come and do this podcast with that if she hadn't have done that course with you. Because she thought, oh, I'll do this, and then asked me to come and do it. And I love it. So yes, thank you
Yeah,
as well from me too.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We'd like to say a huge thank you to our incredible audience for your continued support. Our mission is to ignite your spark, empowering you to be a beacon of light for others. We'd love to hear from you. So if you've got any questions that you would like answered in future episodes, or just want to share some insights, connect with us on our Facebook community page. If you're looking for additional resources, go to our website. You'll find the link below. And remember, the absolute best way to help us grow is to share this episode with your friends and family, and to subscribe to the Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast. So until next time, think beautifully and live brilliantly.